All right, fans of music and music fans, both of you together, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking real music in real time for real people just like you, just like me. So, the sad tale of Dennis DeYoung not being in the band Styx, and it just, especially when you've got an album of this magnitude, which is getting a 40th anniversary recognition, and it's just crazy to think that much time has elapsed. By the way, if you were alive in 1981 and you were, sort of aware, you weren't like 3, but say you were at least, let's say, 10 years old, you may have noticed that 1981 was a really good year for albums, and it really became, I think, in some cases, sort of the best of both worlds. Sort of that 80s sound that was beginning to take shape, but still you had some 70s sensibilities in there. You had new wave that was making an impact. An album, for instance, that really, I think, was emblematic of that was Glass Houses by Billy Joel. How a guy could shift from the 70s pop and jazzy stuff to this new wave rockin' album. For the most part, there were some exceptions on the album, but everybody was being affected by that sound. Styx, I think, may be affected if you listen to this, but again, Dennis DeYoung here talks about a concept album. He's trying to write Abbey Road since 1969. There's no doubt that Dennis DeYoung was influenced by the Beatles quite a bit, as were many rock stars of, pretty much going forward, at least maybe the first 30, 40 years after the Beatles disbanded. People don't talk about the Beatles anymore, but nobody's really been able to top the Beatles in some areas. So everybody kind of shoots for that goal. Some musicians hear things and they know the chords. I hear my own songs and I don't know what they are. I always say as a songwriter that something mysterious is happening. I listen sometimes and say, how did I think of that? I don't have that knowledge. I was thinking, how do I do that? I just made it work. I wrote AD 1958 at the end of Halfpenny, Twopenny. I said to JY, how about the end of Halfpenny? We go into this thing and then we go right back to where it began. And so my friends will say goodnight. I was thinking of a tour. Now they talk about the tour, which was epic, and then they talk about, or at least Dennis does, which is why when we got back together in 96, I said, guys, we have to do it again. And by the looks of that particular tour, if you go back and see the enthusiasm, both with the band and with the audience, you get the idea, right, that this band was making a huge comeback. And then it all went south, and, I've discussed that numerous times on here. This idea that you can just take a brand and continue on. Now, again, caveats here. Dennis DeYoung is still alive, right? He's been alive since the band basically fired him. All right, that's how it went down. The band fired Dennis DeYoung. He's been around. He's still creative. He still sounds great. He still plays great. And it's just odd that people couldn't put aside their differences, and I've been over this and over it and over it. But no celebration of this album is complete. You can go on your little Facebook page and post about how, we're all, kind of living through another era of checking out what the Paradise Theater looks like right now in the year 2021. There are definite applications to the original writing, how that album was put together and what was going through the minds of the writers at the time. Some of those problems still exist, and many of them have been amplified, especially on January 20th of 2021. We are in a tough spot as a country, and it's sad, but this is where we're at. Again, I pleaded numerous times for these two parties to reconcile just for a little while. And that's all I'm going to do. I'm not going to get down, and I'm not going to go through this sort of anger management stuff that I had to do with this group last year. Every time they would go out and do an interview, you know, I was pulling, you know, the rest of my hair out, and it isn't healthy. And I wish they would just stop doing it. I wish they would just say, you know, Dennis, he's a great songwriter, and he's a great musician, and we wish him well. And that's about it. That's about it. Don't create any new narratives, because this is the best band. The Paradise Theater Band, that's the best band, okay? And then in 96, again, the band sounded amazing. And you may say, well, I like the current version of the band, and they rock out, and, you know, Dennis doesn't want to rock out, and that's what you've been told. Just go watch Dennis's live video that he recorded a few years back. I want to say 2017, maybe 2016. It was shot in Los Angeles, and I have to say it's as powerful as anything the original Styx band did together. It's right up there with those performances. But, you know, being a purist and a fan, you'd like to see the original guys reconcile. They don't have to reconcile permanently. We've been over this, but you'd like to see them get together. But any discussion of this album without the focal point being Dennis DeYoung to some degree, or at least a huge focal point. He doesn't have to be the only person who gets credit for this, but he seems to do really well with concept albums. Styx did not need outside writers to help them create this music. This was Dennis and the rest of the band, and just bouncing ideas off of one another. And to me, it's just sad that I don't know what it is today, and the great interview would be, you know, and I guess we've seen it. We've seen the Dan Rather interview. We've seen a couple of interviews where, you know, the guys, they just want to be happy. They don't want that guy in their life for whatever reason. And it's just, I don't know. He seems like a pretty decent guy to me. Maybe he's not. Maybe he's a real jerk behind the scenes. I don't know. I mean, I haven't yet spoken to him directly. I've wanted to for quite some time, but I don't know if that's ever going to happen. But in any event, I appreciate all of you being here on this channel, for watching these videos, for hanging with me. It's 2021. I'm still looking for patrons. Hey, I'm looking for rock stars, maybe, if you like my work here and you guys have a few extra bucks hanging around. You can be on here for $1 a month. You want to send me a message. You want to talk to me about what's happening in your world. I can help you promote. I can help you do stuff. I've got an interview next week with the great Alessandro Del Vecchio. He's going to be discussing his new project with Frontiers Music called Sunstorm, which is actually an old project, but it has a new twist. And we'll be discussing how it came together and so forth. That's the kind of content I try to do, and I'm trying to keep, you know, some of this old stuff in the forefront, and also talking about some of those new bands that you might be interested in learning about. In any event, thanks for watching, and I will see you soon.